What would be a good Halloween costume?
For you, Lurch.
Welcome to the Steak Knife Show. Apparently, I'm Lurch.
I don't have a funny thing to say today, so I, yet again, am still Foster.
He actually came up with the subject today.
I might have, but I forgot it.
Yeah, okay.
Well, could you jog my addle-brained
So,
memory?
we were talking about fall off in performance.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yes. One that I was actually, like... It's something that, like, since I mean, it's something that's always been...
Yeah.
A thing that has not interested me, but, like, boggled my mind. But especially with just some things in people lately that have honestly just left me kind of disappointed isn't a weighted enough word for it. But, like, what I mean is, like, what turns good workers or good officers bad? Is it low morale? Or is it no support from the back office? Is it what had started is you and I talking about, like, people who have worked it long enough that they think of themselves as, like, veterans, or I've seen everything, almost like a lackadaisical nature taking over. And for me, I can honestly say, like, in just the progression of the Steak Knife Show, I've gone from loving our job to I dig our job to there are things I enjoy about our job to now I just kind of like our job. Like and with that, you know, you pointed out that, like, as I see more and more things and our tactics and theories become more and more not just proven, but, like, it's just automatic.
Yeah.
Oh, this person's wild, gift wrap them. And then when you establish a gift wrap, it's over. So it's not really even a struggle or a fight. I mean, they'll struggle. And
Right.
there'll be some, like, curveballs, like the biting thing we just covered.
Yeah.
But, like, for the most part, like, we have, in my opinion, reinvented the wheel of at least hospital tactics. And if not, as you're seeing in the change of, like, very prominent jiu-jitsu families who are selling the same thing to law enforcement, like, these things work because it's gross motor skills.
Yep.
As you get buy-in and as you rep it, it just makes things incredibly safe and easy. But that's not the topic today. The topic is, like, what causes good workers to lose their drive?
Yeah.
Is it just the monotonous of, like, every day?
There's some of that. Like, obviously I've worked in what we're doing a lot longer, and everybody has, like, it goes back to kind of like the peaks and valleys, like we talked about with training, but, like, it's kind of like peaks and valleys, like, even inside of a, like, truly, like, a career. But, like, most people you're going to encounter, they'll put in a good, like, year and a half.
I don't even think you could
And then-
remotivate some of them with a big pay raise.
No. That's what they'll all say they want. And I've seen it. I've seen the big shift in pay. I've seen the demand for it. I've seen a demand for this type of change. And it's not unique to any, like, our organization. It's not unique to our specific place. I'm not even specifically talking about where we work. I've seen some of those things, but I've seen them other places too, and it does nothing. Some people just have, like, an upper threshold.
I think the thing, and I've seen it both in past departments, our department, and outside of our work, I think one of the saddest things to witness is watching somebody lose their passion for their job when they once burned so bright for it.
Yeah. I mean,
like where the kind of hope-filled kid puts his badge on, and then a few years down the road, he's like, you'd almost see, like, he's sunken in.
Yeah.
Or, like, just the disappointment personally of, like, people that I used to, even though, like, I've got more experience than them, like, I dug their energy, they brightened a room, like, all these things, and they're just phoning it in. And not just phoning it in, like, they're actively finding ways to cop out and, like, just, I mean, I don't know, like pieces of shit like sounds a little rough, but like especially accumulatively watching them drop the ball or like not even give you 25% of what,
Okay.
I mean, I know that they're capable of because I've seen it. Like it's just a hard thing to wrap my head around and swallow.
That, and like some of it does come from leadership, but like there's like even a stop to some of that. And the reason I say like as I'm like somebody in leadership, like the ability to like reach down and like motivate, there has to be like give and take from that.
Yeah.
Like if that person doesn't want it, you can be the best ever, you can be the worst ever too, and like you can have incorrect like motivation tactics, and sometimes you'll get good results.
You will.
Like not long term, like
No.
you won't build anything with it. You may get like that momentary like like the fear, like oh no, like they're gonna be afraid of you, and then they'll leave
Well, you can't
because
have
they don't want to live under that fear.
you
Like
can't have that like endless giving from the top down. There has to, like you said, you have to. It's got to be a give and take. But like, I don't know, man. It like, and the thing that sucks is I hate because like I find at least in self reflection, I oftentimes see an issue but can't arrive at a solution. Again, it goes back to, I think I said it in a previous one, like the underpants gnomes, like steal underwear, something in the middle, profit. Like, you know, like I for me like losing I wouldn't say motivation for our job, but it is one like, okay, like we've solved this problem. It's pretty like clock in, do the thing safely, clock out, right? So like there's a form of boredom. It's no longer fresh. But the other side of it is like there have been a few times that I haven't felt supported, or I don't agree with a decision that was made, which is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like the consistency is not only is that decision made, that like it, you know, so many times of like, I don't agree with this decision, I don't agree with this decision, I don't agree with this decision, being left out on a ledge and being made to feel like you're on an island truly saps you. But then the never-ending story of this is the way it's always been, or that's not how it works here. But I know, because I've worked other places, that it can work here. And like that kind of stopgap of like, we're not going to do this, like drains my morale. And trying to find different ways to like work around it, accept it, move on from it. Like, but when you're, again, especially ones where like, I don't agree with this decision, and here's like a good fundamental argument, and me now realizing like it's not worth the argument because the end answer is this is how we've always done it, or that's not how things work here. So now I've lost the fire to even argue, which means I've lost the fire to give you 110%. Like I don't know what to do about that.
There's choices there. I mean, some of it's just understanding that like bigger institutions, like whether it be like completely just like public safety picture, are there's litigious. A lot of times, like your answer,
one of those $20 words you're gonna have to for the class. What does that mean?
It's like bound up in legislation, laws,
red tape.
Like there's litigious,
Policies.
like everything is like examined.
Okay.
Or just like in like policing, like what are police there to do? Charge people, right?
Enforce laws.
So they hand out charges, right?
My favorite thing for police, right?
Yeah.
Was that I believe the Decepticon writing in the original movie
to
enslave and punish is oftentimes what actually happens.
And that ends up becoming the problem. Is like you get police leadership who are police, so what are they looking to do to their officers?
Yeah.
Charge them.
Mm-hmm.
Rightfully so sometimes, wrongfully so. But what I'm saying is
one of my chief's operating procedures was you're not a good leader if you didn't have at least 3 people on paper.
Like, if they deserve it, they deserve it. But, like, also at the same time, like, are you just like you have a making shit up degree, you in the getting your master's from MSU, the making shit up university of found this in the policy, so I rat fucked the policy into what I wanted it to be.
Kind of.
Yeah.
That's how it was kind of was.
Yeah, I mean, and there, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, can you bleed out a policy to write somebody up? Yeah, you can. Like, but is that going to do anything if that person has, like, a grain of intelligence other than just, like,
I think
rip the morale out of them?
Talking about like, destroying my belief in a department from that sense, like, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
But then to see, like, actual shit bags, like actual bad apples.
Slide.
Not just slide, but, like,
Thrive.
Or the attempted takedown of them was done so poorly that they didn't just, like, mess it up. They got to roar back with, like, a settlement and, like, a letter of recommendation and and sometimes a promotion.
That's kind of scary.
But it just is, like, and I get it, like,
yeah.
Thankfully, like, at our current department I haven't really seen that, or I wasn't present for that.
I haven't really seen anything like what you just described. Typically it's a slow moving process on all fronts, like for anything of that nature. So, like, that kind of thing, like, and honestly, like, in that sense, like, we're protected in some ways because it's taken out of our hands. Like, it's pulled up to a level even outside our department sometimes.
I think this was
like,
just
everything
a bitch
kind of
fest.
like sort of.
I thought there would be more here, but it's really just I see, again, like, this is a problem that I've seen. Something that really bugs me. Like, I believe, like, you're like, give you a very brief, like, the way I view life is, like, your life is constructed of foundational pillars, right? You have passions and hobbies. Like, for me, it's very clearly training, martial arts.
Yeah.
My daughters, my work defines a lot of me. And then, like, you have your ethics, morals, beliefs, like love and things like that, right?
Right.
And they all need to be load bearing. And it's a very strange feeling to watch something that is consistent, like our job, that will be here, even if, like, World War III happens, like, we'll still have a job.
Yeah.
And just watch it kind of like these, like, hairline fractures, where I don't trust it as load bearing anymore. Not because it won't be there, but because I no longer like it.
So is that you, or is that the job?
Can't it be both?
It can be, but I mean, things inherently change, especially as, like, time goes on. Like, so are you changing, or is the job changing?
I still love reinforcing and gaining these kernels of knowledge from our job.
Right.
It's one of the only reasons I still have it. Like, so I still, like, actively show up and like do it to the best of my abilities.
Well, I think that's to be like, let's broaden this out. Is that still why you're involved in public safety? Because, I mean, this is just another subset of public safety. It's just not the policing aspect of it, but it has.
I got involved in this because you promised this idea that I would be able to test these theories that I had. That's really it. And, like, so I have not just tested it, like, I've proven it again and again, and then refined it on the back end for, like, my competitions and my own personal safety and interest.
Right.
Like, you are not quiet. Hi. I know you were. Last week was good, but I think you turned a light on or something, and I saw you in the corner. Then the door opened, something.
The door at the top of the stairs, yeah.
The light came down and lit up over there.
Womp, womp, womp.
Womp, womp. You enjoying the movie?
Yeah.
Cool. I like your makeup. I can see it much better in these lights.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
No.
Okay, give me a hug and be gone, small child. Mwah. I love you. Boy,
Bye.
pick your feet up. Thank you. Love you, baby. See ya. I understand people change. I change, and, like, I've expressed that, like,
So
the knee injury And that kind of like,
that experience.
I mean, because like at the end of the day, like I could do the best work ever, and you guys will have a new 5.62. Like it doesn't really matter. Like, so, I mean, it matters, but it doesn't. Like, you know, like it one of those like.
So let me give you my view on it.
Okay.
Having been there a long time, I understand the faults of where we work, but the only aspect truly that I can control in all of that equation is myself.
Mm-hmm.
And whether I am doing the work to the level that I think I should be doing it to.
I think that's
not anybody else, not even you.
No, yeah.
And like you and I have a very similar mentality about things, like not like completely lockstep or anything like that, but like
if you're gonna do it correctly.
Yeah, and like, do I fail sometimes? Yeah, of course, everybody does.
Yeah.
But I also like I am the only one who has a say, an agency in how I feel about that thing. And do I like it all the time? No. Do I like everything about it all the time? Absolutely not. But generally, of the work that I've done, it's the only job that time after time, like year over year, like there's a challenge, a new aspect to it. There's, I don't know. I don't think I've ever, I don't think I could leave what we do now, go out and put on even a different uniform and find what we have there.
I've never, and I've gotten to work, thankfully, in a couple different, very wildly different departments.
Yeah.
And there's never been anything that's like this.
No. And don't get it wrong, like we're not like adrenaline junkies of any kind. That's not what we're saying. It's not like we're jumping
It's interesting.
up.
It's interesting.
Yeah, they're like
it's very much chaotic. Like
the pace is the other piece of it. Like now the ebbs and the flows of the pace are what, especially at like the officer level, what typically I think hurt within the first like 5 years. Like once you breach 5 years, you kind of have a complete like grasp of what's going on, and you're kind of used to like this time of the year, this time of the like season, like there will be a peak and a valley, like, and it kind of just has this like natural ebb and flow, and it like you understand the seasons of the hospital by then. Like truly, like there's seasons of the hospital like year over year with the people you're dealing with, because you'll deal with, especially because it's a teaching institution, like you'll deal with new people who are starting a high level position.
The hope hasn't left their eyes yet.
Yeah, they
I don't think we should do that. That seems like too much. And you have like a charge nurse who's been there for 30 years. It's like, little duck.
Like, shh. Yeah. Like you deal with that cycle. And so it arises like new personalities, new challenges, like, and that can be withering, or it can truly be what it is. Like that's life. Like you're just dealing with like a really harsh razor's edge, a microcosm of life, because like you're dealing with the general population at their worst, even people that you would be like, this is a pretty normal person, and they are having the worst day of their life. And then there's the person who is just the worst person, and they're having an even worse day of their life. And then you're dealing with people that are highly, highly, highly educated who probably can't even make their own dinner.
Yeah, there's some.
And so it's
I listened to some
like,
new doctors be like, yeah, like here's how you boil an egg, wash scrubs in a correct manner. Like
that's a real thing.
Like
have contact with the earth. Do your laundry.
The other thing that like even
not just jujitsu. Do your laundry.
The other thing, like what you're bringing up, like the seasons, like like I know that if I wanted more and I'm too bored, then I would use my seniority and stop working weekends. I was not prepared for how slow the hospital is on the weekends. And so like I would just work during the week when it's absolutely busy.
But there's a trade-off to that. You get burnt out.
You get so burnt out.
You need the balance of there needs to be highs and lows throughout a schedule.
And then like
even during like a week.
Reading the seasons, like the biggest fights that we have come from when it goes from when summer lands and then when winter lands. Mm-hmm. Spring and fall don't really bring anything.
Yeah, it's because it's pretty.
It's pretty. It's nice.
People like to be outside.
Yeah. But the harsh change to summer, the harsh change to winter, like those like out of nothing. And then the other strange one is like when you, especially now that I've been there for a little bit, realizing, oh no, this is a new frequent flyer. This one is going to be an issue forever.
The city has found a new gem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanos has found a new Infinity Stone. His gauntlet. It's like that drawer at the TVA. They just like pulled it open and there's a bunch of them. He's like another one. He like gives it back to him.
It's like it's a paperweight.
Yeah.
Like literally. When I looked to it, some of the new guys, and I was like, that one's one to watch. And then I stopped and realized, like, oh shit, that one's one to watch. Like, God, that's gonna be awful.
Yeah, you're like at the NFL draft for frequent flyers. Like, all right, coming up on the bench, we got Billy Joe Jean. They're gonna be in here every week, fighting, getting high. Yeah,
fentanyl.
Watch out, they're gonna have some used needles. Better dodge those needles. Like,
and nothing touches them.
Yeah,
dude, that's the worst when like they're like, this one's young, strong, gonna be here for a while, and none of the drugs work. And you're just like, ooh, no.
Yeah, it's
damn. I damaged my own morale with that one.
You're like,
oh, I feel like I have a 1,000-yard stare.
It's like watching a villain arc, like in the making.
Yeah,
you're just like Batman sitting in the background.
And there's
like,
nothing you can do to change it. They hate you. They hate us. Like,
you're like, Alfred,
I need a new bat
get the
suit.
camera on them. Yeah.
Bat suit.
Yeah. We're gonna bug his apartment, Alfred.
Yeah, that's gonna be bad. But I don't know. It's just an interesting thing that like that developed from just being part of the training team and seeing people kind of phone it in. That was disappointing. People that like, because like we are the trainers. Like we get like, oh, this group will be good. This group will be not good. And then you get.
Sometimes you get a group that. The other thing too is like being a part of like a subset of the department where you interact with everyone.
Every shift, every person.
Yeah, you have contact with them when they're new, when they've been there a while, when they've been there for years, when they've been there longer than you, and you see their behavior, their attitude, and
to watch a good officer fall is the most disappointing thing.
Well, I think like so. Having been through some of these changes myself where like I've accepted that like to be proficient to actually be truly speak to like that aspect of your job where like you have to go out and do the hard things that nobody wants to do. Not just like theorize about it in the comfort of a chair or like in the back where it's like, well, I'm just overlooking the situation. Like, yeah, to a point you have to do that as in leadership, like, but also like you have to understand the ins and outs of it and be able to speak accurately to it and look at some of the failings of it and truly assess yourself and everybody around you. Like, that was one of the biggest changes I made to like reignite my morale. Like, and it wasn't just, like I said, that's a personal choice. It was something I took control of. And so it's like anything like that, like that's what I always look to. I look for self-examination first before I start to fault the institution. And like I said, no place I've worked has been perfect, and I'm not perfect either. But I know now at my age and at my experience level, there's only certain things I can control, so I have to leave some of that away.
Right.
Can I make suggestions? Absolutely. But ultimately, if it's not my decision to make, and as long as the decision that is made isn't illegal, immoral, and I can at least walk out and give the information to the people without that, like, funk on me, because I will absolutely say, I won't repeat that if I think it's illegal or immoral.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I won't say that, and I don't agree to this. No.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you checking in or checking me. Like,
Yeah.
hey, man, like, is this just you, like, aging out? Like, you know, like.
Not even aging out, just like coming to a point in your life where you're like, do I need to be as attached to this thing? But what do I get out of it versus what do I like? Not even what you put into it, like, because you do put a lot into it. Yeah. But it's like you can.
I try to. I mean, I know sometimes it doesn't seem that way, but like.
But there is like a point where like you can make decisions about a place that's never going to be what you want it to be. And like, but the only aspect that you can control of that is you.
Yeah.
Like, is our work everything I want it to be? No, but it's also not my God. I'm not worshiping it on any altar.
No,
it has a name and it's WRRK. And they pay me, so I show up.
That's fair. And at the end of the day, that's it. But like, I guess like, the same way that I'm sure people feel pretty good when like I show up on a call, like, oh, cool, Foster's here. Like, if it gets hairy, like he'll handle it. Like, I like having those safety nets as well, and then realizing that like, oh man, that person's not a safety net. Mm-hmm. That's like having to readjust my dials. Because, like, you know, I don't work with them a lot. I just saw them. Something's changed in them, whatever it is. On top of the fact that, like, you know, well,
and sometimes when you work with somebody for a long time, you're around them a lot, so you get used to those behaviors. Like the flat spots, you kind of just like ride them out. You know what I mean? Like those behaviors, you kind of just like accept them because you're around them.
Yeah.
And like you're grinding with them a lot. And then you get that removal, and then you see that happen outside of like that, like, oh man, like you have this like graduation goggles of that person because you haven't worked with them in a long time, and then they're just like, and you're like, what happened?
Or the
like,
change happened and you didn't witness it.
Yeah, it could be the change, or you know, the roaches are always there. Just because you turn the lights on doesn't mean they actually went away.
That's fair.
Yeah, sometimes that is the way.
Yeah, I guess so.
They could have just always been a bitch.
Yeah, but
we're not talking about anybody in particular.
No, this is more like a conglomerate of like, God damn, how many years do you have?
Between military and public safety, I am sitting at 17 years
I think I'm sitting
of like in a uniform.
I'm coming up on 16, I think.
Yeah, so we're around the same time frame.
Yeah. And
you've done a lot too, like.
I guess it's just one of those things where like one of those ones like, and it's kind of like where like when we train and somebody's like, you're like, man, like you could do this, you could do that. I always remember like somebody will get kind of good, get to blue belt. They ride a couple tournaments, they'll win like a big tournament, and then they start to fly out. And you're like, oh, no, don't. Like, you could be. And then, like, you just kind of, like, life changes for them.
Yeah.
Priorities shift.
Well, that's why, like, my approach to training is just show up and be consistent. And, yes, like, take the advice of people who are like, you're kind of weak here. Like, I'm not trying to be world champion. I'm not trying to be
I will say there's a
best.
marked improvement in your grappling. Like, you have started to...
Everything's okay.
Kid.
The ceiling's not coming in. Yeah, it's fine.
Big slam upstairs. I don't hear you screaming, so.
Yeah, nobody's crying.
Like your bites are much more. You're holding me in positions longer. I have to like today I had to wiggle out like a couple times. But you know, like it's something that I value. Again, a major tying of our friendship is like the consistency of like I think you and I are both dog shit. We just show up the most.
Yeah. I mean, I show up as often as I can, even to the annoyance of my wife. Like, I'm gonna go do this for an hour or two.
But I have as you guys try and hopefully welcome a baby. Like, I got news for you, bud. Well, I had to leave. You saw me had to leave early because the girls were just over it.
Yeah.
Like they were in like it's too hot to like make them sit. If it was a little bit cooler, maybe I could just give them my phone. But like they're sweating like pigs in the corner after training with us. My phone almost overheated. Like. how hot it
Well,
was.
they trained for quite a long time for
Yeah,
their
for
age
their
and everything.
8 and 10, training for over an hour, like, and they wanted
And it
to.
was they wanted to. Dottie even wanted to like come down here. We have mats on the other side, which you guys have seen in other videos.
And wrestle Isla, but
Yeah.
Isla's starting to get the flustered of like Dottie's big and strong,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Isla's has that fight in her, but she's still a kid, like.
Yes.
And so she's just getting flustered about it.
But no, that longevity piece, like, think of it as like you've been doing martial arts for 30 years, and you've gone through arguably like almost every peak and valley with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The work is in some ways no different.
Yeah, and again, like, especially with the question you asked me earlier, like, am I changing? Yeah, changing. But, like, at the same time, though, like, the confirmation and confidence that I get from our job that's directly applied to another pillar of my life is so invaluable and intangible. Like, it's not even a question.
Yeah.
It's just more like this super disappointing dip is something that I've seen in the past and never had an answer for, but you having more experience and being from the leadership spot, I wanted to pick your brain about it. And then if I'm thinking it, there's some other dumbass out there that's probably thinking it. So hopefully this video finds you and this orangutan tells you that the sun will still come up. Like, the sun's always going to rise tomorrow, but like, and you have to make what you can out of the day. But how do you deal with those? How do you deal with somebody that you invested in that turns out to be a disappointment? How do you just like let that roll off your shoulders?
I'm disappointed for my own judgment about them, but I also have to remember they have free will. They have a choice. I cannot reach inside them, manipulate them to my will. If I were to do that, first of all, that makes me a Machiavellian, evil, manipulative person, like all those things.
Why is Machiavellian always evil?
Is he like, do you have like a poster of him over your bed when you were like a teenager?
I always thought like, one of the main reasons I follow you almost blindly is because in my head you're very like your plots make sense. Your schemes, your plots, all these things like are like there's an end goal, and I can clearly see why you would do this, why you'll suffer through this, why it'll be hard here to get this result. So like I always wondered like was he evil? Was Machiavellian evil?
I think it's more like he was a schemer, like in that sense, like I'm a very intelligent schemer.
Is it weird that you remember the old tale, Briar Rabbit? Mm-hmm. I was Doug the Fox.
But like I have to remember that like that person has a choice in what they do, and taking it personally, like our career field, because it is kind of like this weird intermediary, breeds it to be kind of like an intermediary job between like this part of a job and then like what most people would consider like springboarding into a career.
Very few people stay and make this a career.
Yeah, and so you get a lot of turnover, and then the good people that stay tend to rise into leadership positions. Tend to. They don't have to. Like there are good people that we work with who are not in leadership positions, and they are excellent at what we do, and like, or they have been and they've stepped down, or they have been and they've been made to step down. Like it happens sometimes. Like sometimes you literally like ride the hard wave, like you hit the chop and you wreck. Yeah. And then your boat. You
have the stones to stay.
Yeah, they have the dedication to stay and still not fall. Like actually, I've seen people that some in our group considered failures, and I'm like, they're not in the position they were, but they didn't fail. Have you talked to this person?
Themselves. They redeemed themselves.
Have you talked to this person? Like, have you ever interacted with them? Like, if that's what failing looks like, cool, I'll fail like them. I would fail like them. Like, because they've made a choice, like, yeah, that happened, and now I'm going to continue to hold myself to my internal standard and go forward. Like, that right there sometimes is more important than their title.
Owning and recovering from a mistake while maintaining a high level standard is one of the most like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say like heroic, but like one of the most like highest qualities that I would value in a person.
Yeah, and it's not like this, like the people that I've witnessed that happen to, like, or they've made a decision that it was, and then they owned that decision, they own the consequences, and it wasn't like, I'm just going to tough it out, I'm the toughest. Like, no, they were like, I messed up. Like, now it's time to rebuild.
Yeah.
And they've been able to do those things. So, I yet again, that person has agency in their own decisions. Yes, as someone in leadership, it sucks to lose somebody or see somebody like take like just. I've literally seen people like on their rise. They get to a point, and then it's like somebody else, like their brain co-pilot, just hits the sticks forward, and they're like, "That's the mountain," and you're like, You're like, "Hey, man," like the navigator, like the 3 people in the cockpit, and you're like, "Hey,
pull up,
mountain,"
pull
and they're like, don't care, mountain. They're like, yeah, mountain, it's pretty, right? Like, yeah, we're gonna die on it. The passengers are gonna eat each other on the side of the mountain, and they're like, yeah, but we won't be here because we're gonna hit first.
Shit.
And you're like, the navigator's like, yeah, but I don't want to die.
I have so much to live
I
for.
don't want to die. Yeah, I've got like 3 kids, like, but yeah, like that.
All right.
I've seen that, so take it for what you will. I'm just, yeah.
Well, I don't know how I feel about this one, but I'm glad that we did it, which is strange.
Yep.
Do you have anything about like for the next one? Do you have anything rattling around your brain?
No.
No.
We'll think of something.
Okay, I believe you.
We will. I mean,
stay whimsical, stay combative.
I remember, you have a choice.
Didn't you say they have a choice? Wait, hold on.
You,
Wait.
they,
Everybody
you.
has choices. Everybody has choices.
Choices.